Are people moving away from Kansas City? And if they are, why are they moving out? Today, we're tackling a topic that's been coming up a lot in conversations with our clients, friends, and even online communities. Why are people leaving Kansas City? Now, let us start by saying this. Kansas City is an incredible place to live, and we absolutely love it here. It's where we live, work, and help families find their perfect homes. But no city is without its challenges, and over the years, we've seen firsthand why some people decide to leave. In this video, we're going to break down the most common reasons why people move away from Kansas City, using real stories from our experiences as real estate professionals. Stick around until the end because we'll share one of the most unusual reasons we've ever heard for someone leaving Kansas City. Let's dive in. Crime is consistently one of the top concerns we hear about, and it's a major reason why people leave Kansas City or decide to move to the suburbs instead of the city itself. We've had clients call us deeply frustrated because of the neighborhood they once loved has changed. They've told us it didn't feel this unsafe when we bought our home, but now it's different. For these clients, rising crime rates in certain areas have made them feel uneasy, and for many, the suburbs offer a safer, more peaceful option. Suburbs like Overland Park, 𝗪𝗏𝗏, Lenexa, 𝗪𝗏𝗵𝗲𝗏, and Blue Springs are incredibly popular because they often have lower crime rates and a greater sense of security. Families in particular are drawn to these areas because they want a place where they feel comfortable letting their kids play outside or walk to school. The reality is that crime varies widely depending on where you live in Kansas City. Some neighborhoods are very safe while others face more challenges. It's always important to research crime statistics for the specific area you're considering. For many people, safety is a non-negotiable, and it's understandable that crime can be a driving factor in their decision to move. The second thing we're going to talk about are the public schools here. Schools are a huge factor for families, and Kansas City public schools can be a challenge for those with school-aged children. The district has faced persistent struggles, including lower test scores and outdated facilities, which can be a big concern for parents. One family we worked with moved here from Utah. They were drawn to Kansas City by the affordability of housing and the chance to be closer to extended family. They had their hearts set on a home in Kansas City, but once they started researching school districts, they had to rethink their plans. They found themselves weighing two options. They could buy a larger home in Kansas City and send their kids to private school, or they could move to a suburb like Overland Park, where the schools are highly rated. Ultimately, they decided to stay in Kansas City and invest in private schooling. It wasn't an easy decision, but it allowed them to get more home for their money while still ensuring their kids had access to quality education. This is a common dilemma for families moving to the area. If schools are a top priority, suburbs like Overland Park, Leawood, or 𝗪𝗏𝗵𝗏 are great options, but it's important to consider what works best for your family's needs and budget. The next reason that some people are choosing to move out of Kansas City is the rising cost of living. Kansas City has always been known as an affordable place to live, but in recent years we've seen rising costs that are making it harder for some residents to stay. Rent prices have climbed significantly, while Kansas City is seeing some of the highest year-over-year increases in the country. For renters, this can feel like a never-ending cycle, especially when landlords pass down rising property taxes. Speaking of taxes, homeowners in Jackson County, which includes cities like Kansas City, Grandview, and 𝗪𝗏𝗵𝗏, have faced steep increases as well, with some assessments more than doubling. We've had several clients express frustration with these changes. One couple told us they had no idea their property taxes would increase so much when they bought their home, and it made them feel like they couldn't keep up. For many people, these financial pressures make them consider moving to a more affordable area. If you're looking for lower taxes, counties like Cass County have a much more affordable tax rate. Traffic and road conditions are another factor that comes up a lot in conversations with clients. Kansas City isn't known for having the worst traffic, but the combination of the confusing road layouts, potholes, and never-ending construction projects can be a headache. The downtown loop, for example, is notoriously tricky to navigate if you're not familiar with it. We've heard from people who say they've lived here for years and still second-guess which exit to take. And don't even get us started on potholes. Those things can feel like mini sinkholes sometimes. While there are infrastructure improvements underway, like the streetcar Main Street extension, the constant road closures and detours are frustrating for many residents. These aren't deal breakers for everyone, but for some, the daily grind of dealing with traffic and road conditions adds to their decision to leave. Kansas City weather is, to put it mildly, unpredictable.
Summers are hot and humid, while winters can be bitterly cold with sudden snow and ice storms. We work with a lot of snowbirds, people who live in Kansas City part-time and spend the winter somewhere warmer like Florida or Puerto Rico. They found a way to enjoy the best of Kansas City while avoiding the harsher seasons, but not everyone has that flexibility. The humidity in the summer is especially tough for people moving here from drier climates. It's the kind of heat that sticks to you, and for some, it's a big adjustment. On the flip side, winters bring their own challenges like icy roads and below freezing temperatures. If extreme weather isn't your thing, Kansas City's 4 distinct seasons might not be a perfect fit. But for those who love variety, it's all part of the charm of living in the Midwest.
Kansas City is a vibrant city with plenty to offer, but it's not as fast-paced as some places like New York, Los Angeles, or even Chicago. For some, the slower pace is a welcome change. For others, it's quite the adjustment. We recently worked with a client who moved here from New York City. They initially struggled to adapt because they were used to the constant energy and activity of a bigger city, but over time, they started to see the advantages. They loved being able to afford a larger home and discovered that Kansas City has plenty to do if you're willing to explore. Great restaurants, live music, sports, and a growing art scene. While Kansas City might not have the 24/7 hustle and bustle of larger metros, it offers a balance that many people come to appreciate once they settle in.
The next reason why we see some people leaving Kansas City is family relocations. Family is one of the most personal and powerful reasons people move, both to and from Kansas City. For some, it's about being closer to aging parents or grown children. For others, it's about creating a support system that makes life easier. We've seen families leave Kansas City because their priorities shifted and being closer to loved ones becomes more important than staying in the city they called home for so many years. These decisions aren't about Kansas City itself, they're about the relationships and responsibilities that matter the most.
Kansas City is growing, and with that growth comes new developments and an influx of people. While this is exciting in many ways, it's not for everyone. Longtime residents often tell us they miss the quieter, smaller feel Kansas City used to have. For some, the increased traffic, construction, and population density feels overwhelming, and they decide to move to a more rural area or smaller town nearby. Growth brings opportunities, but it also brings change, and not everybody loves the way Kansas City has evolved over the years. There you have it, some of the most common reasons why people are leaving Kansas City. Every city has its pros and cons, and while these challenges might be deal breakers for some, they're manageable or even insignificant for others.
And as promised, here's the most unusual reason that we've heard someone leaving Kansas City. Someone once told us they believed their house was haunted and decided to move in with family instead.
If you're thinking about moving soon, what's your main reason? Leave us a comment. And if you're considering a move, whether it's to or from Kansas City, we'd love to help. We're Kat and Melanie of the 𝗪𝗵𝗵𝗘𝗢 Group Realtors. And remember, there's no place like home here in Kansas City.